The name's Hound. Hellhound. No. But I do want to wish Sean Connery a happy birthday, August 25th. Today he turned 86, I believe. And I know I mentioned this already in my last video, but I wanted to make a whole video dedicated to him. He's now retired, and he was left behind quite a legacy. He's one of my favorite actors. Of course, his most iconic role being James Bond, which I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about his tenure as Bond in this video. And that was probably, obviously his most iconic role, but I also really loved him in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Highlander, among several others. And but yeah, I wanted to talk about all the movies featuring 007, played by Sir Sean Connery, the legend. Alright, well, let's start with Dr. No, the very first Bond movie, featuring Connery's debut as 007. A great movie, has one of my favorite Bond girls, Honey Ryder, played by Ursula Andress. And a great villain in Dr. Julius No, the title character, played by Joseph Wiseman. Definitely off to a great start, and definitely my top 5 favorite Bond movies. The original is still one of the best. Then we come to my favorite Connery Bond film, and probably my favorite Bond film of all time, From Russia with Love. It's very close one with Goldfinger. Sometimes that one slips into my #1 slot, but you can't go wrong with either one. I love this movie. Connery's great yet again. It features, it features the debut of his most iconic foe, Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Here he's played by Anthony Dawson and voiced by Eric Pullman, but you don't ever see his face. You see the back of his head, and you see his hands as he strokes his white Persian cat, his beloved pet, which is obviously where they got parodied in the Austin Powers movies of Dr. Evil. We also have Rosa Klebb, who was the first female Bond villain who almost killed Bond on numerous occasions. In fact, she actually did in the book that this was based on, but then they changed it in the next movie. They had him survive. Some really great action-packed scenes here. My favorite movie featuring 007, definitely added to your collection, is freaking great. Then we have Goldfinger, which, as I said, sometimes this one's my favorite, depending on what mood I'm in. Definitely my second favorite, either way. Definitely the top 2, either way. Goldfinger, featuring another one of my favorite villains, Auric Goldfinger, played by Gert Frobe, but his voice is actually dubbed by another actor. I want to say Michael Collins. Is that his name? I don't know. I could have that wrong. But Connery's great here yet again. I like Goldfinger's signature killing method of painting his victims completely gold, which causes asphyxiation, and they suffocate to death. He's pretty cool. Obviously, this is the basis for another Austin Powers movie, Goldfinger. Great movie, and it's actually the only Connery film that doesn't feature Spectre, the evil organization run by Blofeld. Next is Thunderball, the 4th film of the franchise. Connery's great here yet again. Ernst Stavro Blofeld returns, again played by Anthony Dawson and voiced by Eric Pullman. We still don't see his face, but he definitely has a presence, and he does plenty of evil things. Him and Bond never come face to face yet, but this one kind of overdid it with the underwater scenes. But I forgot to mention Pussy Galore. She was a great Bond girl in this one. Anyway, sorry, back to Thunderball. Yeah, they overdid it with the underwater scenes. I think they had some kind of a new technology. It wasn't the first film to have, film something underwater, of course, but they had a kind of a new technology, I think, that made it easier and made it look really good. And they're very beautifully shot. I love the underwater scenes, the diving and stuff, but they kind of did do it a little too much. But those also have villain Emilio Largo, played by, I forget his name. Adolfo Celli, I think. I think I have that right. Yeah, he wears the eye patch and has a harpoon gun and everything. Definitely a great entry. And then we have another favorite of mine, You Only Live Twice. This one's awesome. It takes place mostly in Japan, and the Bond girl here is played by Mie Hama, who was also in King Kong vs. Godzilla and King Kong Escapes. She's one of my favorite Bond girls as well. Bond even disguised himself to look Asian in this one. So there's a lot of Asian culture and stuff depicted here. This is, and Ernst Stavro Blofeld is the villain yet again. This time you actually see his face, and he's played by the one and only Donald Pleasance, who, you know, of course I love from the Halloween franchise, one of my favorite series of movies of all time. He was just great there as Dr. Loomis, and he really excels at playing a villain, as evident here. He was obviously, his version was obviously the basis for Dr. Evil. You know, with the bald head and the scar and everything, petting the white cat, even the uniform. And yeah, even when it doesn't show his face, he's really menacing. He always has really intimidating lines. Just freaking awesome. And I love when him and Connery first meet each other. It's just such a, you know, his greatest nemesis, you know, finally they come face to face. It's just an excellent scene. Yeah, the Asian culture and stuff is pretty interesting too. Bond even takes some kung fu courses and stuff, you know, whatnot, I guess, to blend in better. Pretty cool. Yeah, the next Bond film, the sixth one, was actually On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Connery left the role of Bond, and 007 was now played by George Lazenby, who did a fine job. I can never forget his infamous wall break when he says, "This never happened to the other fellow," referring to Connery. Yeah, it was a great movie. Telly Savalas is the one who plays Blofeld in that one, and he does a great job. He's awesome. Second only to Donald Pleasance. But then Connery actually returned in the next movie, Diamonds Are Forever, which was his final time playing Bond in the official series. Most people hate this movie. They say it's one of their least favorites. I don't know why. I love it. It probably is my least favorite of the Connery era, but it's not bad by any means. I love it. Charles Gray from Rocky Horror Picture Show plays Blofeld this time, and it kind of irritates me that he has a full head of gray hair and as opposed to being bald in the early songs. But the character does change his appearance a lot. You know, he's like a chameleon. He's always changing form. You know, he's always transforming himself, getting plastic surgery, and he even makes doubles of himself in order to blend in. You know, he's still got his white cat. And I think he did a great job. He's probably my least favorite Blofeld, but he's not bad by any means. He has a few scenes of being pretty menacing. Such a great villain. No matter who he's played by. But yeah, Connery was great here. Once again, of course. We have Tiffany Case, the Bond girl, played by Jill St. John. And then also Plenty O'Toole, played by Lana Wood, who doesn't really last very long, but he shows kind of a sacrificial lamb, I guess, so to speak, in this movie. But yeah, this movie's really good. I don't think Charles Gray was bad as Blofeld. I also love Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, played by Bruce Glover, Chris McGlover's dad, and Punter Smith. They're just freaking hilarious. And yeah, I think they're supposed to like represent the gay couple, and so this does have a few homosexual undertones. But I just thought it a riot. I thought this movie was really good. I love their scenes. They're assassins. They're always making jokes when they kill somebody. They have like really inventive ways of murdering someone. And they always say something like, you know, if God was meant to fly, Mr. Wint, he'd give him wings, Mr. Kidd. Or they're always talking like that. It's really funny. And I love the part where Mr. Kidd, played by Punter Smith, says, "Lady such and such is really attractive for a lady," you know. And then Mr. Wint looks at him like he's so mad. He's always using female perfume. Yeah, they're some of my favorite henchmen. Speaking of henchmen, I forgot to mention Oddjob. Another thing I forgot to mention about Goldfinger. Oddjob was friggin' awesome here. He's my second favorite henchman next to Jaws, who was in Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker from the Connery era. Is it just me, or does speaking of Moonraker, real quick, I gotta go off on a tangent, which I apologize. The scene where Jaws meets his girlfriend, Dolly. Is it just me, or didn't she have braces? Like, he falls, he lands, and she comes and helps him. He smiles, revealing his mouth, you know, he's got metal teeth, his mouth full of metal. Then I remember her smiling and having braces as well. Like, did I imagine that? And it seems like a lot of other people remember that as well. And, like, I watched the DVD, and I even watched my old VHS copy. Sure enough, she didn't have braces. She never did. It's really weird. You know, there's a lot of people saying it's relating to the Mandola theory, some weird conspiracy about alternate universes, you know, parallel dimensions merging together, all kinds of crazy stuff. But I guess it's just because it was like a mass, you know, like a mass wrong memory. Like we misremembered it all. Like, you know, it was just a coincidence we all remember our braces. Maybe it's because we were expecting it to happen. Like, it was so obvious that she should have braces, and that's why they fell in love. And like, we kind of filled in the gaps in our mind. She kind of seemed like the type of girl that had braces. But anyway, sorry for that tangent. I'll talk about that more when I get to Roger Moore video, I guess, when it's his birthday in October. He's my second favorite Bond, by the way. I love Roger Moore, and he was the longest running Bond for 7 films and 12 years. But anyway, yeah, that was it for Sean Connery in the official Eon production series. He did also play Return as Bond in Never Say Never Again in 1983, the same year that Octopussy came out. Now, this wasn't an Eon Productions film. Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman didn't produce this one. Or their estate or whatever, it didn't have the gun barrel sequence at the beginning or anything, but it's like a remake of Thunderball. We see Emilio Largo here again, this time renamed Maximilian Largo, and Ernst Everett Blofeld, played by Max von Sydow, who does a great job. Kim Basinger plays the Bond girl. It's a great movie. It's a great addition. I recommend it. It's not too. I don't like it as much as the other Connery films, but it's not too bad. It's actually pretty good. I don't know why they really felt the need to remake Thunderball, but it's not bad. It's not part of the official series, but at least it's pretty cool to say that Connery did play Bond 7 times, which is the same amount as Roger Moore, who played Bond more than anybody else. But yeah, long live 007. I'm a huge James Bond film. I'd like to make more videos relating to Bond. Maybe I'll do one where I rank them all from worst to best, and maybe I'll do one where I rank the actors. Obviously, Connery's #1, hands down. I like the newer ones. I thought Spectre felt a lot more like a James Bond film. As much as I loved Casino Royale and Skyfall, Quantum of Solace wasn't any good, but that was a misstep. But I thought Spectre felt more like a Bond film than the others, like a true Bond film with all the recurring themes and motifs and everything. And also finally saw the long return of Ernst Everett Blofeld, this time played by Christoph Waltz, who I think did a fine job. He even showed how he got the scar. They even had the cat and everything. It was pretty respectful of the series. I think they're finding their way. It kind of started out, it felt too much like Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible. Daniel Craig, I thought originally was all wrong for Bond. He's too short. He has like blonde hair. He's more rugged looking. He kind of lacks the suave, charismatic charm and debonair of previous Bonds like Connery, Moore, and Brosnan. But he's really grown on me. I think Craig's doing a fine job with Bond. He may not kind of lack the physical characteristics. He may not have all the right attributes. He may be definitely a very different Bond, but I think he's doing good, and I look forward to seeing more from him if he continues to play the character. If he comes back for a 5th time in the 25th Bond film, I think it'll be pretty good. But yeah, well, happy birthday, Sean Connery, the big 86. I think I have that right. And, long live 007, James Bond. It's one of the longest running franchises of all time, right up there with the Godzilla series and a few others. All these movies are great. The Connery era, which is, my favorite. And I'll talk about some more of the Bond films later on. Maybe I'll make another Bond video, as I said, ranking all the movies and talk about the actors and such. But yeah, guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my show. Long live 007, and happy birthday, Sean Connery, once more. All right, guys. Later.